A couple of days ago, I proposed a question in a video asking black people, do they want social change or do they want social currency? Because when I look at the actions of black people, they pretty much show me they want social currency, not social change. When I look at black people's actions regarding all these marches and protests that groups like Black Lives Matter participate in, they show me that most black people only want the social currency that will get them attention from white media and white people. They only want to go out and march and protest only when it relates to the murder of a black male at the hands of a white cop or a non black person. Any other time when there are murders and assaults and robberies in the black community, most of these black people cannot be found whatsoever to take any sort of action to look out for their own community. That's why I say most black people want social currency, because Black Lives Matter is popular in the mainstream media. Black Lives Matter is popular with white people and non black people. And getting attention from white people and non black people seems to be the primary reason why a lot of these black people want to go out here and march and protest. Because the only thing that usually is the catalyst for them marching and protesting again is the death of that black male at the hands of that white cop or that non-black person. Before then, we see no actions by any of these black people to institute any sort of real social change. We don't see any black people going into the community trying to teach young black males how to behave when they are confronted by an authority figure like a police officer. We don't see any black people coming out here to mentor black people in the community. We don't see anybody trying to create articles or blogs or videos that promote things like teaching black men how to keep their jobs or how to get jobs or how to um, um, conduct themselves in social situations, or things like conflict resolution, problem solving, and matters that will help these black men get the social skills and life skills that will maybe in many cases prevent them from losing their lives when they are confronted by a police officer or any sort of individual in their community who is looking to start beef or start drama. We need that type of constructive action. Unfortunately, many African Americans, because they're so obsessed with social currency, don't want to do that type of work, because that type of work is hard, that type of work is thankless, and that type of work nobody's going to see. So there's no brownie points that they can get in the media or with the community that will make them popular by doing that type of work. No, most black people don't want to do that type of work because, again, they want to be popular, they want social currency, they want to be able to say, I went to the Black Lives Matter rally and I'm cool because I went to the Black Lives Matter rally. They want social currency, not social change, because social change is hard. And trying to achieve social change is very hard, because that means you have to set goals for what you want to accomplish. When I look at this modern day 21st century Black Lives Matter movement, I don't see any sort of goals being set by this organization whatsoever. I don't see any sort of direction being set by this organization whatsoever. 99% of it is emotion. They only come out whenever there's a death, again, of a black man by a white cop or a non-black person. And when I look at their track record, they have not yet even achieved a single conviction of an individual for the death of a black man. And in many cases, they can't even get an indictment of a black man, of a police officer or a non-black person for the death of a black man. They pretty much have an O for, what is it, about 5 or 6 when it comes down to their record. Yet people think marching and protesting is going to make a difference. And what really shows me, how dysfunctional the way many of these black people think, because marching and protesting hasn't gotten us anywhere, hasn't achieved anything. Again, we have not seen a single indictment of a white police officer due to the actions of Black Lives Matter. We have not seen a single conviction, because George Zimmerman was acquitted when these guys came out. Pretty much, they have, again, an 0 for 5 track record, and people are thinking that this is social change, that making a lot of noise is going to get social change. And what's really backwards about all of this marching and protesting is that many of these same places where these incidents took place were Democratic strongholds. Yet we see most of the Black Lives Matter people, or the people who were victims of this brutality by police, pretty much endorsing Hillary Clinton for president, showing that most of these black people just don't understand the subtle politics transpiring around them. Why are you supporting the party that has pretty much shown they have no interest in taking black issues seriously? I mean, we've had 8 years of Barack Obama, and under his watch, his federal attorney general, Eric Holder, decided to resign rather than pursue charges against George Zimmerman, did not just choose to pursue any charges against Michael Brown, and pretty much the case of Eric Garner remains in limbo. Yet, because your Barack Obama makes speeches, they pretty much do not even think to say to themselves, connect the dots and say, look, this Democratic Party has been in office for 8 years, and we have marched in protest demanding justice from this Democratic Party, and here are most of the victims endorsing Hillary Clinton. Moreover, they're sitting there still trying to campaign to get the attention of this Democratic Party, and nothing is changing. Even worse, most of the states where many of these incidents took place were Democratic strongholds. We look at your Baton Rouge, that's a Democratic stronghold. We look at your New York here, where Eric Garner died. Democrats pretty much running things. But most black people still endorsing Hillary Clinton, still getting ready to go vote for Hillary Clinton, and still thinking they're going to get social change by going and approaching this exact same party with marching and protesting. That's the definition of insanity, but these black people still think they're going to get change by doing the exact same things and still expecting a different result. Again, when I look at it, it's all symbolic in my eyes, because all this marching and protesting hasn't gotten any social change. Basically, it's social currency that black people are trying to get by putting up photos on Facebook and Instagram saying that, oh, I went to the Black Lives Matter rally. That shows that I really care about black people. I'm really concerned about black people. It's really just social currency so they can get Facebook likes, Twitter likes, YouTube thumbs up, and get views, basically because they want to get social currency. They're not really serious about social change because, again, real social change is hard work. It's stuff that people aren't going to see. It requires a lot of action that a lot of black people don't want to participate in, because when it comes down to social change, you don't see these black people follow it through with actions such as going to go shop at these black-owned businesses out here. You don't see them following through by doing things like participating in constructive actions such as not shopping at places like your Korean hair and nail salons and your Arab-owned stores, which pretty much exploit your black community. You don't see any sort of constructive action that way. And you don't see any sort of constructive action such as doing things like mentoring young black males so that they can be on the right path. These are things you don't see black people doing. And then they'll sit there and say they want social change. Meanwhile, they're participating in the exact same dysfunctional behaviors which have pretty much led the black community in the sad state that it's in. Again, you cannot get change by doing the exact same thing. But sadly, most black people believe you can get change by doing the exact same thing. And that's why nothing really changes in your black community, because most black people are pretty much trying to do the exact same things, like marching and protesting and telling the world that Black Lives Matter, instead of taking constructive action to show the value of a black life by doing things like learning how to conflict resolve without going to pull out a gun or pull out a weapon, learning how to agree to disagree by saying, look, he has an opinion, I have an opinion, I'm just going to leave it alone, and learning how to deal with this thing called life. If black people showed that Black Lives mattered to black people, the rest of the world would start to learn that black lives would matter to them. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.